Coffee with the Summerland Kids. It is 66 degrees in Summerland, California today with a high of 81. It's June 24th, 2024, and we are on episode 56 of Coffee with the Summerland Kids. Here we are. Coffee with
Good
the
morning,
Summerland
Jericho.
Kids.
I'm only half awake right now. You can see I'm only halfway on the screen. Let me get a sip of coffee.
Yeah.
There we go. Now I'm here.
Nice. Amaze balls. Yeah. So summer has officially began. We have already gotten I would say 4 inches of rain. That's coming from Weatherman Joe of Pagosa Springs. Told me he got 4 inches in his cup outside of his house. So that's a substantial amount of rainfall for June.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial rain. I know. 1 year I was living up by the mountains, and we got a late rainstorm in town, but the mountains got snow on them. Did you get any snow on the top of some mountains from this rain?
No snow, because it was definitely warmer. I'm surprised because when you have a guest visiting, like I have my buddy Jason visiting, you just notice everything more. I feel like I'm more aware of my surroundings having someone else with me, so it makes me feel like, oh, it's so comfortable out. Because you always think about the other person. Are they hot? Are they cold? How are you feeling? It's like, dude, this is like absolute. The weather's absolutely flawless. I mean, we've realized that there's no mosquitoes or bothersome bugs up at the cabin, but if you go to the river, it's somewhat of a scenario where you need the old bug spray situation by the river, yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's more water, more puddles by the river.
Yep. I guess that's what's up, and then the little beaches that we had found to hang out on got kind of washed away or soaked with mud because of I'd say a 1 foot increase in the water volume. It's the banks of the river have risen a bit since the rains. So, it just changes everything a little bit.
Change is good.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if there was no change.
I know, right? Yeah, change. That's what's up, man. Changes, yeah. So speaking of changes, he asked me how long have I had the beard going. Basically, when we started the show, this is my show beard, because we started it and I really had not much beard. I had very little in terms of beard. So episode 56. So however many weeks are in 56 weeks, 56 days of shows, 5 days a week. I don't know how
14
long.
Weeks.
What's that?
I think it's 14 weeks. Maybe
so. Yeah, because we have 4 weeks per month, and then definitely 2 months is 8 weeks. I'm dyslexic.
Well, 50 episodes would be 10 weeks. So 11 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're doing 5 episodes a week. Let's see. 56 divided by 5 is 12. Wait, 11?
Yeah.
11. We're starting the 12th week.
Yeah. So that's how long it's taken me to get this beard. So that's not too long. I want to say I got good hair growth on my face, not so much on the back of my head, but whatever, And I'm also, it's hard. Yeah.
I was growing in the back there.
Hair growth.
But I got no hair on my chest at all.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I got like 3 little hairs right here. But
right. I figure I'm going for the I would like to go the errand. Yeah, I like it.
Oh gosh, yesterday. So what was yesterday? So there was a baby bird that we found in the backyard.
Okay.
And so I called the animal rescue people, and one of the things is you got to keep the baby bird warm. So I'm driving to go meet this person about 20 minutes away, and no AC, because that was, to keep the bird warm. And all the sweat and my beard got itchy and had to scrub it
Yeah.
all down yesterday and put some stuff in it to kind of keep it moisturized. So I don't know.
Yeah.
When it's 100 plus degrees, it is annoying, but when it's 0 or cold, it's nice because it keeps your face warm.
Yeah.
I gotta get the waxing going a little better, because you can see I kind of got the fun little swervel,
No, it's
but this
Schnarf.
side doesn't swervel as much, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So how did the baby bird situation turn out? Did you get the bird to the
I got the bird to the
shelter?
lady. She got it to eat, but it did pass.
Oh,
I mean, once they're out of the nest for a few hours, they kind of don't have much of a chance when they're that small.
wow. Yeah. Huh. Trippy.
I
Yeah.
hate to
So
think that it was my cat that did it, but my cat is a great hunter.
right.
So I don't know if she climbed up in the tree and knocked it out. But I caught her chasing lizards yesterday, and she's just a hunter. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if it was her fault.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, we have a bird. We have a little bird that's put a nest on top of the old thermostat outside, which is one of those big round ones, those big round thermostats, um, or temperature gauge. And he's put his nest on top of the temperature gauge, and it's kind of like hanging down in front of the gauge. So I don't know if I'll try to help him out or not. I could see the cats, if the cats zone in on where he's at, I could see the cat jumping up, but we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully they get their babies and get their business done. I imagine they'll be there for a few weeks, I would think, if not the whole spring. I don't know what their schedule's like, but the bird schedule.
Yeah, that's I did a little bit, of checking, and sometimes the baby birds, it's kind of natural for them to jump out of the nest when they're a little bit
Okay.
too young.
Okay. Yeah.
And but it's because they're learning to fly, so they just kind of coax them and they'll fly.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
but it was interesting to me, because when I'm looking up what do you do, it's illegal. It's against the law to rehab something like that unless you are certified. And so there's certain avenues you got to go through. We made the calls and everything that we had to, but I get it's sad in one way, but I guess in another way, I'm glad it wasn't a prolonged too long, for the poor little guy
Uh-huh.
or girl. But
Yeah. No, that's a factor for sure. My mom saw a bear walk through the yard the other morning. I missed it, but apparently a bear did a little walkthrough of the yard, and I've seen him before myself. I took some pictures a couple seasons back, of a baby bear who was a solo baby bear. Um, so I guess he did get some shots in town. I guess he got in someone's car, and they actually took a picture of him inside the car. So that was local news. That made local news headlines, here in Pagosa Springs.
well, if there's a baby, I imagine there's a mama around, so you kind of got
I
to be
know,
careful.
right? Yeah, exactly. And then what else in local news here in Pagosa Springs? Evelyn, I believe Tennyson opened up it's called the Tennyson Art and Sculpture Park or something like that. And it's a beautiful little park. I mean, she's a wonderful lady. She owns the local theater and what else? An event center. Now she has she has Two Old Crows art gallery. So right across from her art gallery, there was a big vacant piece of land where an old building had burned down. So she took and bought that land. It took her a little bit of time, but she bought the land and then worked with a couple local contractors and developed a little sidewalk that goes through the land and planted grass and little ground cover and some trees, I think, and then definitely some like a stage set up for a band. And so it's a cool little location now. It's kind of like a little town park that a local person has paid for to be open to the public, like a new little addition to the town. So that's cool.
So it's a private park?
It's open to the public, but she basically paid for it all to happen. So it's really nice of her to do that for the city. So she'll own it. I believe maybe it'll be in a trust at some point or something like that. But it has sculptures in the park, and they dedicated the sculptures. I think she bought the sculptures. Basically, she paid the artists, and a handful of the artists are local, and some of them are pretty good. I mean, there's a guy who made a huge, I think you may have seen it, it's a gigantic antler out of aluminum, which is like way bigger than life size. Obviously, it's probably like, I'm guessing 18 feet long, all aluminum. Like it's called like Seasons Shed or something like that, where it's how the elk shed their antlers each season or something like that. I find that fascinating. But so he's inspired. The artist is inspired by that, and he built these giant set of antlers out of aluminum, and they're massive. I mean, they're probably like circumference is about a foot in diameter. Sculpture. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of aluminum, a lot of work.
Yeah,
But I guess it's also a lot of work. A lot of energy goes in for the elk or whatever to grow those antlers every year.
I'd imagine so. I
Just
mean,
to shed
it
them.
seems really fast. Seems extremely fast. I mean, what do they call that when elk they call them the points? They say like, oh, that was a 12-point deer or whatever, or buck, 12-point buck. I mean, does that mean that freaking buck grew those antlers in one season, or what?
I think so, because I know that they do shed off.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know if every animal does that, but I know that they shed off, and then the next year they grow more. Like you see the little baby bucks. Back when I was in the Central Coast, so you see the deers all the time. They were everywhere. And the little baby ones just had the little ones, and then there'd be two, and then you'd see the same one because like people put food out, and then there's three the next year, then four.
Oh,
So
cool.
I think each year they get a new point or something.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, that makes sense then. It doesn't all happen in one season. Like what? Like full
I think it does all happen in one season.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like they'll grow and then they'll fall off, and the next year they'll grow and then they'll fall off.
Trippy. Wow.
I'm not sure if every every herd animal does that, but
yeah. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, so it's it's amazing that I've been up here for, well, this is my 5th season, but it's 2024. I got here 2020. So somehow with the growing season, I'm on season 5, I think. But it's season, I guess you could say year number 4, approaching 2025, 5 years of being here
20,
in Colorado.
21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Because you started at 0.
I know, right?
Instead of 1.
I know, that's true. That's what's up. Yeah. So, it's a cool town. We're definitely growing. I mean, this place has got a long time ago, they carved in roads for housing. And so little developments that they put in, roads and cul-de-sacs, and obviously probably ran power out there. So a handful of the lots have a power meter perhaps attached to them. Some of them maybe not, but the power's close by to power it up. And so people are building homes for sure out here from scratch, just buying an empty lot and building a home.
Now you're on solar, right?
We're on solar, yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have enough power to last, you know, like during the winter and stuff, or you got to run generators sometimes.
Yeah, we got to run the generator sometimes, and we did lose a few batteries like a couple seasons ago, but it's been running okay ever since. I mean, there's a chance if we add more batteries, then, but more batteries doesn't necessarily mean more power. I think it just means more storage. So maybe
Yeah,
with more batteries, maybe you get a longer um, lifespan of your power that you have, I guess. Um,
yeah,
but it works, you know, it functions. You know, when it is cloudy, you do have to kind of make an extra effort. If it's cloudy on consecutive days and raining for a number of days or snowing for a number of days, you'll definitely be in the cycle of firing up the generator. So that's just a thing, but you learn it, and it's sort of like country living, more or less, in terms of like how modern day people, you know, pull off the grid lifestyle. You still require some gas. That's
yeah. You
just the
need some
deal.
energy.
Yeah. So you have to,
So
you
you
know,
pack propane up there too, or
propane. Yeah, absolutely. We've got propane, and that's our just for the oven, and then and actually our refrigerator, our main refrigerator runs off propane as well. Um, and then we have a freezer that runs just off electric, and that's always on. So you know, I think the freezer. I mean, it's amazing when you start to realize what appliances are plugged in, and you're really conscious of it. Um, you know, the hot water heater, I believe, is plugged in, even though it's propane hot water heater. It still has a plug in for a little light sensor or something like that. Um, so you know, um, it's it's uh it's doable for sure. It doesn't. I'm not missing anything. You know, I'm not running a shop, or if I was running a wood shop or something, I would probably have to make some extra arrangements to. You know, I'm sure if you ran it during the peak time of the sunshiny day, I'd be fine. But other than that, um, you know, a lot nowadays, a lot of the tools nowadays for the modern working man are battery pack tools. So it just be a
yeah.
matter of charging all your battery packs during the best part of the day, and you'd be tooled up to run. Um, I mean, sometimes you know you're on jobs. I'm sure you've been there where it just you feel like the old-fashioned drill with a cord is actually preferable on some jobs. When you're drilling hundreds of holes, let's say, you know, it's like just plug it in, man, and go old school sometimes. You know.
Oh,
But
absolutely. I remember back when I was younger and working construction. That was first thing you do is you pull out the power cord and you run
mhm.
the power. You run it
Yeah,
to from the power source to wherever you're working.
for sure. Yeah, that was the old school. And the same thing at the body shop, you know, working on cars, but we relied a lot on an air compressor and air tools. And then it was just a
Hmm.
matter of keeping the generator sorry, the air compressor maintained to some degree. You know, once in a while changing the oil on the air compressor. Of course, draining the water out of the air compressor was super important. And then trying to not have much oil in the lines, because of course when you're painting cars you actually want clean air. So we had like a, I think it was called a desiccant system that filtered the air coming from the compressor before the in the paint booth of the for cars, you know, because you want real
Oh yeah,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
you
that
want
would could ruin a paint job. Just one little tiny dot of oil
you're screwed.
make the paint, you know, splotchy or
Yeah,
uh,
it ruins the
not
job.
consistent.
Yeah. So there's a fair amount to it. I mean, I winged it for a bit in Los Angeles. I did a handful of jobs for a couple clients, and I when I would have to go paint, I would go and take the cars to a paint booth, and it was a rental booth location. So they had their act together over there. I think it was called I can't remember the name. Might have been called. It was definitely in East Los Angeles Community Auto Center or something like that. And it was a great resource because they had like four paint booths, I believe. And so four auto painters could be painting four cars at the same time, essentially at that location. So that was a amazing resource. And the men that were there, I know, were very much appreciative of the place because you could rent a booth for $75 or $80 to paint a car. So it was a very reasonable fee to be able to have that perfect environment to shoot your car in.
Yeah, those paint booths aren't cheap. You know, you gotta
No.
figure, you know, if you're, you know, gotta keep any dust out. So you gotta
Yeah.
have a building. What are they called? Downdraft booths where
Yeah, there's downdrafts and
everything's, you know, clean filtered air actually going into the booth.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
one little tiny grain of dirt or one little tiny thing, you know, lands on that paint, it'll ruin the finish.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, it's frowned upon, you know, so yeah, clean filters. So you kind of rely on the technicians have definitely play a role in that of maintaining and keeping the booth clean. And, you know, everyone, a lot of people have different styles and different approaches to that. Some people are super, you know, just like different people have different styles with their tools. Some people keep their tools immaculate. Other people just use and abuse their tools. Yeah. You know,
Yeah, the guy that
so
was helping me tune up the truck there, he's like, yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of how you tell if a mechanic's worth their salt. Do they come and all their tools are nice and neat and everything's in its place, or do they got to dump out the toolbox and fidget through it to find their 10 millimeter socket?
yeah, you know, exactly. I mean, I aspire to be that organized guy, but I'm not there right now. The garage the garage needs love. I mean, for sure. In at least at my home front, you know, where I'm currently at, you know, so
Oh, the
yeah,
garage is half storage, half workspace, half parking, especially if you
right.
got a couple vehicles, you know, or a motorcycle or something, you got to park it in the covered garage, and you want to have the tools to work on it, the supplies to work on it, and of course Christmas and Halloween and all the decorations are probably in a box somewhere in the
Yeah.
garage.
No, that's
Anything
right.
like wardrobes, like winter wardrobes that maybe you haven't worn, or extra stuff, or collectibles, or like in your case, an art collection or a magazine
Yeah.
collection, comic book collection would be in the garage.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes it easy if you're having a garage sale. You just open up the garage and say, oh, okay, we're selling stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I got the containers loaded. I got the container, and thankfully, I mean, for the most part, you know, with J Bra there, you know, he's been keeping an eye on it. But the since Mom feeds the chipmunks, we have the chipmunk village, as well as the squirrel population is there too. So it's kind of like um, you hope that the squirrels and the chipmunks aren't living with you inside your dwelling. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
that's a
some people get them and they kind of, you know, take care of them and make friends with them. And
I know.
I, you know, whatever. I guess
Yeah,
humans are that way. I got a couple cats. I don't
yeah,
know if, you know, I guess cats have been domesticated for a long, long time.
yeah,
And, you know, they're just kind of used to it. Yet, you know, we do have, you know, the feral stray cats around.
yeah,
So, you know, sometimes they're not so friendly to people, but they still kind of seem to come and hang out in the yard and look for food. You know, we got a neighbor cat that likes to come over and sneak in the house. It's all sneaky and it comes and eats the food. And then oh, look at the other cat. And he looks, oh, and he runs off
yeah,
like, oh no, you
yeah,
caught me. I'm out.
yeah. Wow. Well, at least those guys keep the rodent population down. You know, if there's any mice or anything, it's like that's not a mice paradise. You know, you have the tiger working overtime. You know, your tiger cats are on patrol, you know,
Or
so that's
lizards
cool.
too. The one little cat just loves to almost every other day I'll look out there and I'll be like, what now how do you find lizards? I don't see lizards ever. But
Yeah,
she sure does seem to find them and chases them around and brings them up to the porch and tries to bring them
Wow.
in. I have to chase
Yeah,
her out with, no lizard in the house, please.
that's awesome. God.
I'm kind of sad because I ran out of my cat. I give him little treats in the little bag, and he comes every day. Oh, give me my treats. And I ran out today, and he's coming. Oh, and I give him some of the other treats, and he doesn't like the other treats. He likes the special crunchy ones with the, and so he
I
was
know.
kind of sad. I was sad. I might have to go shopping today and find some.
Yeah. No, that's a good call. I mean, it's so challenging to keep them happy with the right kind of what do they call it? Temptations. We buy the temptations for our cats. So
I don't
anyway,
have any specific brand. I go to the grocery discount. I don't know if you have a grocery outlet,
no,
and they seem to
I
have
wish we did, man. I
different.
love grocery outlet. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
treasure hunt. You know,
for sure.
you
That's
don't know what
cool.
they're going to have, and they got new stuff, or you know something that you like that they run out of stock real quick. So when they have it, you stock up. You're like, oh yeah, I got a bunch of these, and then you run out, and there's none left in inventory. So that's kind of a change of the seasons in a different way.
Right. Classic. I found some old cartoons from elementary school that well, let's see, definitely some writings. I found some like old writings from Summerland School, and I'll bring it tomorrow and I'll send it to you. And actually, I wrote your name. I said it's something about teaching you how to surf, you know, in there.
I
So
tried to learn. I tried and tried and tried,
yeah,
and I think maybe it has something to do with my spine because I do have some spine issues. I
right,
just never. I don't know. Maybe because I'm so tall.
yeah. Well, Summerland
Everyone's
was
like, "Oh,
also
just pop up." Just you get going and
yeah,
going down the way, and you just pop up.
right,
I couldn't just pop up like that.
yeah,
Like, but I sure did enjoy boogie boarding. I got to the point
yeah,
where I 360s and the barrel
right,
rolls. The wave was formed
right,
right,
totally,
and
yeah. Summerland
we
was a
always
hard
seem to have
place
a
too
few
because
boogie boards down at the beach.
the waves just crash at Summerland too, so it doesn't really give you a whole lot of time to figure it out. Like Waikiki, in Hawaii or down south toward toward like what is it called? Mondo's. There's a place called Mondo's. It's a little bit past, I think, definitely past Muscle Shoals. Anyways, it's a easy, slow break where the waves are mushy and slow, and it breaks way out there too, like a little reef. So it gives you more time to ride on your stomach and then actually learn how to get up. Where Summerland gives you no time to get up because the wave is like literally crashing so quickly that you have to, like you said, the pop up factor is next to almost, very challenging to learn how to surf at Summerland, you know?
Another
So,
thing that I didn't get super good at it. But the skimboards. Now that was
oh,
actually
yeah.
pretty decent there in Summerland because the way the sand was, there was no little rocks or pebbles, and it was just a nice smooth, kind of not a steep shore, but kind of a shallow line. And
Yeah.
so if you
Skimboard.
have big enough waves, you could skimboard.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed that when I was younger.
Yeah. No, and that's another sport you can kind of have some face plants too, because if you hit the dry sand, the board just stops, you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah. And when you going back to the sport after not doing the sport for a long time, it's actually it's a little bit, you hesitate to jump on like when you were a little kid. Because when we were little kids, we would just run and jump on the board. But when you're growing up, you're going like, wait a second, you're kind of like rethinking this whole thing. Like I'm supposed to run at this little piece of plywood and jump on it and skim across. Like it's like
oh
start to go,
yeah,
wait
I
a
guess
second.
after so many times falling, um,
Yeah,
you're just reactive, like, oh no, you're cautious. When you're young, you haven't really smashed your face into the sand too many times, and you bounce up when you're a kid. You're like, oh yeah, okay, brush it off. But
right.
once you get older and you've smashed a few times, and you're like, wait, ow, it takes you a little bit longer to bounce back, and
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
I guess
Oh
I
my
guess you
God.
kind of get a little bit used to it when you're,
Yeah.
or I mean, you get a little bit used to being, cautious when you get
Right.
older. So you're a little more
Yeah.
cautious.
It'll be interesting to see how long Tony Hawk and Steve Caballero and Lance Mountain and was it Tony Alva and all those like our modern day skateboard pioneer heroes, how long they keep doing it.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen some pictures where it's like I don't really follow the sport, so drastically, but it's like, oh, he's 55 and he's still shredding, and it has a picture of him, some air and woo up in the
Yeah,
air on a skateboard bowl or something.
exactly. It's like we're living through we're aging with the pros here over here. So anyways, so should we wrap it? This is Jericho Wagon. Aaron
I'm
Ray.
Aaron.
Yeah. We're
Tigger
coffee with the
says top
Summerland
top for
KIDS.
now.
Have a great day, you guys. Cheers to Monday. We're getting it done.